Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Abby and I run this channel called Conversations with Abby. Welcome. If you are new here, please watch my previous videos, and if you're returning, thank you for supporting my channel or my passion project that I started last year. And yeah, thank you. I'm so glad January is over. I'm saying this a bit late because it's around 11th February, but I'm so glad January is over, and I felt like January was a bit rushed compared to previous years, but I'm so glad it's over and we now have a new month. So I'm gonna get right into the topic. Oh, by the way, I noticed some friends of mine discovered my YouTube channel. I've tried to keep it a secret from my family and friends simply because it was a passion project. I didn't know if I was gonna do it for a longer period of time, or I'm gonna hide the videos and I'm gonna take it down, but they found it. So hello. So our topic for today is red flags to watch out for when you're going through the job process, mostly when you're interviewing for the job and when you're doing the application before you get the job. So these are the things to watch out for, because sometimes if you ignore them, they might not be the best job for you. So I'm gonna point out the red flags I have noticed that have made me not proceed with the job process, or reject offers, or sometimes I even dropped halfway simply because of that, or even sometimes I don't even apply. So some of these are pretty obvious, but anyway, you let me know if you have experienced them. Okay. So the first one is a vague job description, or the job description is very vague, so you don't even know what exactly they need, or sometimes they put too many roles and responsibilities into that role. For example, maybe you're applying for an accountant job, right? Or a reporting job, right? There are specific roles and responsibilities someone in finance would expect from that role. But when you look at it, they ask you to be involved in M&A activities, they ask you to be involved in internal audit activities. It's just too many things that can be done by 3 different people are being done by one person. Another thing I saw, especially in Kenya, is they put, they say the role is called, for example, insurance companies, they say it's a financial advisor, but what they mean is that that financial advisor, what they mean is you're selling insurance. So you are selling insurance products to, or looking for customer, but they call it financial advisor. From what I understand, a financial advisor it's not the same as sales. So those are things that the job description doesn't align with what your roles and responsibilities are. So I've decided to add a snippet here, because just to be a bit more detailed, I know that financial advisors do end up doing sales and sell the insurance products, but I feel like it's a bit misused. Most of the time in Kenya, the financial advisors I've met that sell insurance, that's their role, they sell insurance. But from what I understand, financial advisor does more than that. I know you advise and all that, but it's their performance is pegged on how much insurance they sell. So it's not about how much your the research side or the wealth management side. It's more just selling insurance, which I think is not the full scope. So I think it's a bit misdirected to have that title and that's the only thing you're doing, right? So one of the things I usually one of the questions I usually ask in all my interviews I've done is, what does my first 6 months look like? So I usually ask that to the interviewer, right? That's a question that is always in all my interviews, and I learned it in campus, and I started doing that from my first interview. So what does my first 6 months look like? Because if the person interviewing you is the manager or the director or whatever, they'll say your first 6 months is about you learning this, you'll be doing this, You kind of get a feel of what they will need you to do. If they can't answer that question, when I'm talking about vague description, they don't know, they can't answer that questions well. The same way they ask you to answer questions well, that is a question I would expect the interviewer to give me a response that matches the role. So that's something I would recommend. Ask that question. I always ask that, what does my first 6 months look like? So that if it's vague or too much responsibilities, I have a feel of what I'm getting myself into. So that's the first red flag. The other red flag is too many interview rounds, guys. I don't know why this phenomenon came later I don't know. I don't feel like people in the 90s or the 2000s were doing this many rounds of interviews. And I understand it like from an audit firm perspective, because you're all inexperienced. So they do like aptitude, you do your group interview, you do like five. There were too many in my opinion, but I guess I understand because all of you don't know anything. So I guess it's pretty much testing different things. But as an experienced hire, someone taking you to 3, 6, 6, 7, I've had even 7 rounds of interview. Honestly, that is a red flag. It's exhausting. It takes a toll on you. I don't think you need to work that hard to get a job. I mean, if you're doing 3 rounds of interviews and the 4th one is just meeting like the CFO or the big man just to have a feel of you, I think that makes sense. But too many, I even had this thing, I think I saw it on social media. Someone said that there was a 12-man panel. 12 people in one panel. Really? 12 people? I think that's just an intimidation tactic, because why would a panel have more than 3 people? I feel like 3 people is enough. Like 3 people is enough. Even 4 is pushing it. I mean, 12 people, do they not have things to do in that office? They are in the interviewing one person, like an hour a day. No, that's just, no, that's a red flag. That's a no. So me, if it's too many rounds of interview or a big panel, I think that's a red flag, and that's a no. Yep. Another red flag is interviewers who take too long to respond. And I've had this experience. I'll give you my example. I was interviewing for this role in Kenya, and I did well. I think I did well. I was in the, I think I would say the 2nd stage of the interview. So the 3rd stage is you meeting maybe the directors, and then the 4th stage is probably like just the head of the company, just to have a feel of if you are the type of person they would enjoy working with, right? It took 2 months for the managers to get back to me. 2 whole months, 8 weeks. So when they called me, when you're interviewing, probably you're not like putting all your eggs in one basket. I was interviewing for like 3 different jobs at the same time. So I had started this other job within the 2 months process. I started the interview and I finished, and I had even accepted their offer. So these guys 2 months later come back and tell me, "Hi Abby, we're gonna put you to the next round of the interview." I was like, "Hey guys, no, I've already gotten a job. I don't think I'm interested in this process any longer. No, I'm not gonna continue." They were like, they even started begging me. And in my head I was like, "You're begging me now, and it took you 2 months to respond to me." That's a red flag, and that is a no, guys. No, we're not taking 2 months to proceed from one stage to the next. Maybe they had sometimes some of these people, they already have a person, and then maybe the person dropped off, and then now you're the second option. Not like that. Our eggs are in different baskets. So 2 months, that's a red flag. Yeah. And another red flag, I understand people are busy, but one of the other red flag is like constantly rescheduling or reorganizing the interview. Like, I understand once or twice, maybe because the partner, when the people are not available, I understand that. But if someone reorganizes it so much in a long period of time, like it's taking you so long to move on to the next level because they're constantly reorganizing, no, I don't think that's a good thing. That's a good sign. Another red flag for me is I would expect at the 2nd stage of the interview, I'm being interviewed by someone I will work with. So in consulting firms, I understand like there are different managers or directors, so that's fine. You can alternate one manager with another because you're not going to be working with one person. But when you move on to like industry, you will probably have one boss or 2 bosses or 3 bosses, or depending on the level, different levels. I would expect the person who is interviewing me is gonna be the person I would work with, and you will kind of know if the person who is interviewing you is not the person who will work with, simply because like they will, maybe let's say this, in industry it's like streamlined upwards, so they don't have like a T1 550 managers in one role, so you'll probably get 1 or 2 people, especially experienced hires interview. You will kind of tell the person interviewing you is definitely going to be the person that you will be working with. But if it's a person that is you're not going to be working with, they will be like maybe an adjacent department, and they're asking you things that they're not relevant, or they look ill prepared. If you ask them questions, it looks like they don't know half the things or three-quarter the things, and then they even say that no, they're in this department but they're not doing this. So for me, if the person interviewing you is not the person you're gonna work with, I mean, how are you gonna objectively, you know, a person who's gonna be working with you can be objectively saying, okay, this is a person I want to be working with. So I feel like at some point, at the second stage or the third stage, the person interviewing you should be the person you're gonna be working directly under. Otherwise, it's a bit of a red flag. Like, how can a person from tax be interviewing me and I'm never going to be in the tax department? So me, that one is a red flag. Hey, for me, another red flag is, I have been to interviews whereby, like, you sit in the lobby for 2 hours. An interview is supposed to start at 10, it starts at 12. When you go in, there's no apology, they don't even apologize. I think some of the, and it's, I think it's rude actually, because I know, like, I'm an interviewer, but I feel like people who don't apologize for keeping you waiting for 2 hours in an interview panel, they're like coming from a position like you need this job, so it's fine, you can wait out there for 2 hours while we do whatever we want and then we come and interviewing you. I think that's rude, and I think that's a red flag, and honestly, that's not a company I would want to work for, because at least an apology would be nice. So that for me is a red flag. Yeah, so that's pretty much in. One last tip these days I always ask is before I was like, oh, maybe not, but these days I always ask for salary range, so that whenever I feel like it's important to ask, especially when you're doing the HR interview, so that you don't, like, so that you don't waste each other's time, because they might be paying less than what you want. So it's not really a red flag, but I think it's something that you need to ask early on when you're doing the HR interviews. I don't feel like there's any shame in asking it. Maybe when you are like an entry level, there's a bit of like, maybe I shouldn't, because I don't want to look greedy. But as you become an experienced hire, I think it's better to just ask about the salary range, so that you know if you're gonna work with this company or not. So that is something I would ask you to, I definitely ask. And yeah, and that's it. Thank you guys for watching. This has been a short video, and I am excited to continue shooting, as you can see on my face. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for everything. And I've realized I say thank you a lot, so I'm gonna stop, I think. Anyway, continue watching, subscribe, and have a good it's Saturday today, so have a good weekend. Bye bye.